Daily, and this is Jamie Cassell. We are your dietitians from NutriFormance. Thank you if you've been following along for our how-to series. We are continuing along with June. This is our organization for our pantry and our refrigerator, which, how does chicken go along with that? Well, we've got to give you something to cook. It's grilling season. I want you to learn how to enhance things without having to just use salt and pre-made marinades all the time. And while I'm going through some of this, Jamie's going to talk to you about some other things that we can do with the pantry and fridge. With the chicken, the best thing that I have found, this is my favorite kitchen utensil, it is your meat mallet. It tenderizes your chicken so great. I'm a little bit of a risk taker when it comes to salmonella, which I know, bad foodborne illness, I get it. But Jamie, she is a big proponent of wrapping saran wrap over the top of the chicken so you're not spreading salmonella everywhere. So we did that because we have to practice good health. So it doesn't have to be a lot, but you do want to make sure you get both sides. And while I'm going crazy on this, James is going to give you some tips about the lemon and basil.
So a couple basics when you're looking at pantry safety and kind of pantry organization. You really want to make sure that those tempting foods, those sweets and treats, are up and out of sight. So either keep them high in the pantry towards the back, keep them in the bottom. You can always use a basket to kind of hide so you're not opening the door and seeing Chips Ahoy cookies or whatever it is right there tempting you. So keep those things out of sight, out of mind. That always makes it a little bit easier to resist some of those temptations. When it comes to food safety and organization in the refrigerator, anytime you're talking about any sort of raw meat, unprepared meat, poultry, that type of thing, you always want to keep it in the bottom part of the refrigerator. If it does leak, you want to make sure that you're contaminating as little as possible. The other thing you can do to kind of add to that as far as safety goes is put a bowl or plate as you're thawing chicken, or as you keep that chicken in the refrigerator, keep it on a plate or in a bowl so if it does happen to leak, it's not going to contaminate everything else on that shelf.
All right, so those are some great tips. This chicken recipe is lemon, basil, and cracked pepper. So I have taken the liberty of tenderizing the chicken with the wonderful meat mallet. I'm going to just pepper both sides of the chicken. And this is where ideally you'd wash your hands before touching the pepper mill again, but we're trying to keep it simple for you guys. And you don't have to watch the video for very long. Chicken goes directly into the baggie. I definitely recommend fresh basil, which obviously that's something that can get expensive, so if you want to venture into growing your own little window
plants.
Yeah, the little window box.
Yeah.
Very cheap. It's like $1.50 to buy a little plant at most grocery stores even, but you just tear the basil leaves.
And just as a note, the basil will stay good for, it'll stay good for about 7 to 10 days in the refrigerator. Not quite as long if you're keeping it out on the counter, but if you do have your own fresh supply, you can just pick it off the plant whenever you need it.
Basil goes in there. Then you chop up some lemons. One tip for your lemons before squeezing them is you can actually roll them on the counter first, and that loosens up some of the juice as well as makes the seeds come out, which I am not worried about seeds. This is going to go on the grill, so I'm obviously going to take the chicken out of the bag anyway. And you do not have to worry about not pulling the basil off, because actually keeping the basil on, you get a really nice crispy grilled piece of basil that goes along with your chicken when you pull it off the grill. And
another side note, when you're looking at as far as storage and time for the lemons, they stay good for about a week on the counter, or they stay good for about 2 to 3 weeks in the refrigerator. So if you're looking to prolong that life, you can always keep them in the fridge and they'll last a little bit longer.
So if you don't have time to marinate overnight, not a big deal. Tenderizing the meat and adding an acid like a lemon or vinegar really makes the meat tender all by itself. So if you only have 30 minutes or something like that, right when you get home from work, or you want to do it in the morning, not a problem. You just take those grills. We're not going out to the grill today because I've got my beautiful finished product right here. And you can see that leaving the basil on, you get a beautifully, very moist chicken that even if you reheat that chicken because of tenderizing it and using the acid, is still going to stay tender. If you want more recipes, make sure you can go to our blog at NutriFormance.com, and please join us for our next month's series.